So some of the good players like are mavericks, and like Cantona was a maverick. Like he didn't abide by the rules. He did his own thing.
You have to earn the right to be like that. You can't just call yourself a maverick and you're just being a wasteman.
Basically, take Cantona out of Man United's team. Yeah, all them titles they won, they would never have won them without Cantona. Let's be real.
You have to be good. You have to be like
they wouldn't have won them titles without him in that team.
You have to have something. If you're gonna be inclined that kind of way, you have to.
Ian Wright was a maverick as well. He's always getting himself into trouble with referees and players and all that. But he was a maverick, innit?
Close to you, please.
But he was good.
He was good. Aubameyang's a good player as well, but
he was good. You can't be a maverick and a bad player.
Yeah.
It was just a lie.
You say Aubameyang was good too.
Aubameyang was good for us. He single-handedly won us the FA Cup. If he never scored any goals in the semi-final and final, we wouldn't have won the FA Cup.
What, you're 100?
Chelsea battered us in the FA Cup final, remember?
Yeah.
Before Pulisic got injured,
we were all over.
You were all over us. On another day, it could have been like 5-4, 5-1, 5-2.
It should have been. That's all right.
And then when Pulisic got injured, Aubameyang
was our best player at the time.
Yeah.
That's right. 1 year later, Champions League, made up for it.
So, yeah.
Well,
whenever you beat us, we go to bigger and better things.
That's a good conversation point, and we'll discuss that more another day. Welcome back to another episode of One Kick from Glory. It's me, Clive, and I'm joined as always by Craig.
Yeah.
And Matthew.
What's up?
Today's episode is understandably titled "Oh Zoo." And if you don't know what that is in reference to, of course, that's when Zuma got left behind by Aubameyang in the FA Cup final of 2020. Of course, the reason why we're saying Ozu now is because he should have left his cat behind, but that's neither here nor there. There's been a lot of, obviously that whole situation it's not a laughing matter, of course. And what's happened since then has been very interesting, to say the least. I'm going to start with you, Matthew. When you first heard the news about, or maybe even you saw the video of what Kurt Zuma did, what were your initial thoughts?
I haven't actually seen the video, but I just read the tagline alone, like Zuma, what is it, kicking his cat or something. I was like, what is going on with him and his cat? But before I arrived here, I just saw on the news like how serious it's got and how they want West Ham to actually fire him. They want him to take action, because I think after that what happened, he played last night against Watford.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, hang on, he's got a 250k fine, which he can afford, and he's still playing. He's still got his job. Like, why is he allowed to? Why is this allowed? But I tell you one thing, I don't know if you want to touch on it well, as I saw the Sky Sports News interview with Mikel Antonio, who made a very valid point about he did that and he was allowed to play, but he got other fans and maybe even footballers like making like all these racial slurs, and they're still allowed to play as well. Like, how, comparing the two, and it just sparks that debate again. And I don't know what sometimes go through these footballers' heads when they do and with the power of I sound like a broken record, with the power of the internet, with the power of social media, with everything going around, for people to see, and with people looking for a reason just to call for blood, something like that. Like, we've seen it with other footballers with way more grievances that we won't talk about from last week. This isn't even on the same scale, but it's the same case of like, just think before, use that thing between your ears before you do literally sometimes anything in this day and age. It's not worth being caught. It's not even the fact that it's funny. What's funny? What's funny about it?
There's two things at play here, and I think I'm glad you mentioned Mikel Antonio, the statement he gave to Sky Sports when he was driving from training, and I'll go to you, Craig, about this. But there's two things at play in this whole situation. The first thing is, of course, the cruelty done to animals, which we have laws against that. Of course, in Zuma's native country of France, they have strict laws against it, and it can carry up to a prison sentence up to 5 years. So there is the possibility, and they do have the right to prosecute you overseas as well. So there's a possibility that could lead to something down those lines. So there's that side of it. But then the other side of it is the disproportional action and the furore that surrounded this whole thing, all the people coming out. And the thing that's been really interesting is that a lot of people online have been a bit upset about how people are trying to talk about, like, let's not conflate two issues. This is animal cruelty. Why are people bringing race into it? Race only came into the equation when Chris Kirkland opened his big mouth and made that statement to say that this incident is worse than racism. First and foremost.
Oh, that's what that was.
This is where it's all come from.
I've had my fun.
First and foremost, it's not a competition. We're not no one's trying to compare racism to animal cruelty. It's not either or. It's not a zero-sum game as to what's the worst ill. And at the end, and one of the things that's really uncomfortable for people to accept is that it ultimately in society there's always a hierarchy of need. Of compassion towards things. There's things that you feel more closely aligned to and you'll be more compassionate with. This issue, and I remember, and it's not just this issue. We had the same thing when the Super League thing kicked off, which was like the first big eye-opener that more can be done.
Yeah.
This issue brings it even further into focus. We've had the Black Lives Matter on the back of shirts. We had the badge now that's on the kits. We've had the kneeling before games. I understand fully why players have stopped doing it. I mean, I've always felt like it's a token gesture and it's meaningless ultimately.
Yeah.
It is a meaningless gesture and it has been proved meaningless. And this situation proves it to the nth degree. And I'll get to you in a second, Craig, about my point on that. First and foremost, Super League, when there was that, look at the way how the media galvanized everyone. Let's stop this thing. Let's not let it happen. Let's protect our game. Write to your MP. Do this, do that. Even the fact that Sky Sports were not even region restricting their content. You can watch it anywhere around the world. The Monday Night Special with Gary Neville, Carragher. Let's really get behind this. Super League gets squashed. Back to normal duty.
Yeah.
This situation happens. Okay, West Ham filing, which people think it's about 2 weeks' wages, the 250k.
250,
cool,
yeah.
Right? 2 weeks' wages, fine. I think they thought they could handle it in-house. Obviously, that's not the case because the court public opinion have kicked off. Fine. Adidas dropped him. Okay. Vitality dropped West Ham. Another sponsor today also dropped West Ham. So that's 2 sponsors that have dropped the club off the back of the situation. There was a former Leeds player a couple of years ago that got found guilty for racially abusing a player. He got banned for 8 games. No sponsors dropped, nothing. Luis Suarez, when he was found guilty of racially abusing Patrice Evra, Adidas did a front page ad warning him. Didn't drop him. As Mason Green, I think he's been dropped by Nike, hasn't he?
He was dropped, but the reaction after that was worse because the next game, and I remember it very, very clearly.
They had the shirts on.
They had the shirts.
Yeah, I remember that game. It was against Wigan.
So with this whole situation, no one is saying that, animal cruelty, racism, we're putting them on a totem pole, we're trying on a scale of which one's more important. At the end of the day is that actions speak louder than words. And what we've seen today is that off the back of this heinous, terrible crime, because it is a crime for animal cruelty that has been committed against these 2 cats. Of course, they've now been taken away by
the RSPCA,
which is amazing, and they're being looked into and everything. Things are being investigated further. Fine, but the response has just been so disproportional. Like, to be honest, going now a precedent has been set. If any player for any club racially abuses someone, I don't want to hear niche. If a sponsorship is not pulling out of that club, and if we're not hearing the same level of fraud, then I think it's pretty clear.
We got a problem.
It's pretty clear where the line stands. But going back to that statement, Craig, when you think about this whole situation, you obviously Mikel Antonio, what he said, do you feel that now football has to really take a proper look at itself in regards to discrimination? I'm just going past racism, I'm talking homophobia, sexism, all these isms that are surrounding football and the issues that we face. Do you think there's something needs to be done now more conclusively? I
personally feel it's a deep-rooted problem. It's a deep-rooted problem from the bottom all the way to the top. From grassroots level all the way to the top of the football channel. I feel that if you play amateur football, you get abused. If you play semi-pro football, you get abused. If you play professional football, you get abused. So I feel like the FA needs to do more about all that kind of stuff and try and find ways how they can deal with it, because these fines that they're giving these clubs when they do any of these, all this stuff is not good. It's not enough. They need to ban them, put them in prison for a long time so they can learn.
I mean, I think on that prison now, people have been calling for Zuma to lose his job, to go to prison.
But for Zuma, I feel Zuma made a fundamental mistake. He shouldn't have done what he did, and he shouldn't have recorded. What he did is wrong. I'm not condoning his behavior. You don't kick animals, isn't it? Simple as that.
No.
You don't do that. That's wrong. But I feel the way how the public have kind of tried to crucify him is not nice. Because at the end of the day, when players, for example, get racially abused and all that, I don't see the public having that same energy for that. It's like, oh, don't worry, it's another black player or another Asian player get racially abused. I want to see the same energy that you have for Zuma when he kicked the cat when it comes to racism and discrimination. I want to see that same energy. If I see the same energy, then you can say, yeah. Because it's not right, because It's like one rule for one and one rule for another.
other.
It's not right.
I mean, think back to Nicholas Bentner when he scored the goal for Denmark in the Euros. And he had the Paddy Power boxes on. He got fined, what, £60,000?
Yeah.
Why?
That. Because it's advertising, and obviously that's not allowed. But yet you have the Hungarian FA when their fans racially abused.
Raheem Sterling.
They got what, 54,000 fine?
Yeah.
And now we have a £250,000 fine for a player. Now, obviously, the fine that Zuma has been given was by the club.
Yeah.
So everyone can argue, well, this is a FIFA issue, this is a club issue, it's different. Governing bodies, whatever. The problem is a precedent has now been set. And the thing going forward, like, they're going to have to follow it through. Because if you don't follow it through, then what's the point?
Of course.
What is the point of what's the point of kicking it out? What's the point of this? At the end of the day, if the next time someone gets racially abused, and God forbid it happens, but if the next time someone gets racially abused, and even Zuma's gotten racial abuse off the back of this whole thing, let's put that to one side. If someone else gets racially abused now in the crowd, or a player says something to another player, if they're not hit with the same level of energy, they may as well just say, done this Black Lives Matter thing on the badges. Let's just kill it all off. Forget the knee. In fact, they shouldn't even, no one should take a knee anymore. It's just dead it. Because what's the point? It don't mean nothing.
It means nothing.
And who are we doing it for? Because we're not doing it for us. The people who are affected by these things.
A lot of people have stopped doing it for a long time.
Because it's not effective.
I feel personally that, like, we're in 2022 and racism is still happening in the world of sport and in society today. We're not in 1942 or 1930, whatever. So why... We live in a multicultural society. We don't live like with just one race. We live everybody from different cultures, beliefs and backgrounds. And nobody should be discriminated against from the colour of their skin or from their religious beliefs or anything like that. Everyone should be treated fairly and respected. Nobody should feel when they leave their house they have to be watching their back or whatever, feeling funny. Everyone should feel safe. Not when, wherever you go, if you work in a job or wherever you go, wherever you do in society, like, you shouldn't feel like you're going to be discriminated against. No way. Everyone should be treated fairly and respected.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree 100%. And you know what? I think that's the important thing about how things are going forward. I actually saw a stat today that anti-Semitism has gone up 35% over the course of the year.
It came up in the news today.
That is horrendous.
You see the videos?
That is horrendous.
You should see it, and it's absolutely insane. And these people, when they're shouting, it's like, and doing all these the salutes and the slurs. It even shows something going on some of the football stadiums, you know, all these things that we don't say, we just don't say anymore. And it's just bad because it's been put forward so many times, the history behind it. It's there. Like, what makes you want to say things? I've got to get into these people's minds of why they want to say, never mind, you know, anti-Semitism and all the other things. What makes you want to try and say, what's the result? What do you get? Seriously. I mean, it just feels like lately, you know, 2022, we think we moved past all this. We've got all these, you know, schemes and movements and all this sort of thing. And we're still in square one. I don't think it case calling for like unification, but it also seems like it seems like we're more divided than ever.
That's the sad thing. That is the sad thing. And that's the thing that I really hope off the back of this situation we can have. I mean, I think society as a whole has become very insular. The lockdown has made people become very, very skeptical, cynical, but also you're more aware of just... I honestly felt that from lockdown, people would become more empathetic.
Yeah.
We lost our freedom. So you'd think, okay, we've lost something that was so trivial, like going to the shop, going to the pot, seeing friends, buying a Costa coffee or a coffee. Let's not advertise Costa, but if you want to pay bucks for that advert plug, yeah. But buying a coffee, you'd think all these little things people took for granted. And I really hope that off the back of this, there'll be more empathy around the world. But it feels like we've gone the opposite way. People have become more insular, more kind of selfish and more like seeing the differences in each other and like, I hate you. It's like, that's not the place to be.
No.
So I'm really hopeful that this all changes, but you know, it's football. We love the game, but we hope that these ugly elements disappear. Talking about moving from ugly elements to bit of a fun story. So we got Brereton Diaz in the Championship. Blackburn Rovers discovered he had Chilean ancestry, got called up to the Chilean national team. He's also, there was rumors that Barcelona were looking at him as a potential signing. I mean, they all want to buy everyone, don't they? There's that stupid.
They want to loan everyone,
but
for
like
free.
they want everyone for free, obviously, because they ain't got no money. But yet they can buy everyone. So what do we? Because obviously Blackburn are in a good position right now in the Championship. They might make it up for next year. So do we think that he's going to be the next big star in the Prem? And I'll start with you, Craig. Like, do you feel like he could come up and have a good goal scoring run? Because I remember when John Stead made that jump, also at Blackburn when he came up, and he had a really good goal scoring run with them. Kind of tailed off a little bit, but he did have a good run. Do you feel like Brereton will take the Premier League like Storm?
I think it's the real deal. He's doing the international level. Every time he plays for Chile, I think he's got 1 and 2 for Chile. He scores goals for Chile. Either get a goal or assist. He's playing with Alexis Sanchez, a Premier League legend. Well, like Arsenal, not Man United, but Arsenal, yeah. I personally feel he'll do well in the Premier League. He's got good movement. He's a good finisher. I think if he scores so many goals, the amount of goals he scored in the Championship, you can definitely transfer it into the Premier League. Ivan Toney, for example.
Well, he hasn't so far,
but he's done well.
Trying.
He's done well. He's done okay.
He's doing okay when he stays focused on what's on the pitch stuff, not off the pitch on the boat in Dubai.
I think Ollie Watkins has done quite well last season. He did well. This season, a bit, not as much, but he's done well. You got players like Danny Ings as well, was a Championship player.
True.
You got players like Chris Wood was a Championship player. He did well in the Premier League. Got a good goal scoring record. Maupay as well. Maupay did well as well.
Che Adams when he's
Che Adams came from. Where did Che Adams come from? Kind of club. I think it was
Championship club.
Championship club.
Which club?
I think it was Birmingham. It was at Birmingham City. Then I think he came.
What's his face? Bellingham came from. I know he's not the Prem,
I think
but he went to the Bundesliga.
I think it was Birmingham City.
Yeah, Birmingham City was
Che Adams. Yeah. Who was another Premier League player striker that's done well?
I was thinking of one, and it's literally just escaped me. Where
Igalo was a Championship player, and he did well at what he's got loads of goals in the Championship and did well. So it can be done. Like I think all you have to do is just work on your game, and if Blackburn get up this summer, just work on your game and your fitness. A World Cup here as well, so Chile qualified for the World Cup.
Vardy
as well.
Jamie Vardy.
We can't forget the king of it.
Harry Kane as well played in the Championship and look what he's doing now.
Yeah,
he did well in the Championship. He did all right in the Championship. He was at Leicester. He went in a couple of clubs. He went to Norwich as well, so he's done well.
There's a good precedent for it.
I think playing the Championship is a good precedent for you to get into the Premier League and star it up in the Premier League. So.
I mean, we have to admit the level of Championship's gone up a lot over the last few years, and you have to admit that like it's more entertaining than some other leagues in the round.
Oh yeah,
100%, yeah.
Championship's quite underrated.
I feel like the Championship, like every game, like anyone can go top of the league. Like you have a good run, a good 8-win match. Not
even 8. You can just have 3 good games,
and you can go
and you might be top again.
Top of the table. Yeah. So it's very competitive. Anyone in that bottom half can climb up in no time. So I would say I think it's more entertaining than the Premier League.
Sometimes,
100%.
Sometimes,
I love watching. Sometimes when I'm at home, I love watching Championship football. I like watching it live. If nothing on TV, I just watch it because I love watching how they put their structure of football together and how they just get results, grind out results.
And the thing is, you can always tell the teams from the Championship that because of how they play, how well they'll do in the Premier League. There's some teams that just the nature of their way of doing things, they're going to do really well. So I think that's really good. We're talking about, so from a team that might come up to a team that are looking more and more like they're not going down. Of course, talking about the Magpies, Newcastle, black and white. We need more unity in this world. So black and white all day, every day. Newcastle United.
Good win.
Nice win against Frank Lampard's Everton.
Good win.
Before we talk about, good win.
I love it.
What do you think, Matthew, watching that game back and just seeing what the new signings are bringing? Eddie Howe, that's what, 3 on the bounce now he's got?
Yep.
Yeah.
Doing well.
It's starting to come forward. They're starting to sing what he's been singing. We always knew that, those signings they made were very clever signings. They might come together and produce something. I mean, Trippier does what Trippier does best. Another fantastic free kick. Who else got me? There were 2 on goals in the space of a minute.
Yeah.
That was
Lascelles Lascelles got an assist for Holgate's goal, and Holgate returned the favour to Lascelles to get the equaliser for Newcastle.
They felt bad for each other. I think was it Ryan Fraser scored the second goal. I think Ryan Fraser,
another
another good
2-1,
former Bournemouth prospect. I think he had one fantastic season where I think only Hazard got many more assists than him. But just in general, just watching them, of course, the magic man, the entertainer, St. Maximin. I mean,
the baller,
the app. What a guy to watch! Like even just. If he doesn't necessarily score, you go necessarily just to see him. You just want to see him and do what he does. It's such a treat for such a club with such a history in the Premier League and what it means to their local people. But again, Frank Lampard got it right in the first game against Brentford. We came up a bit more of a competition here. I mean, because after all that money they've spent, they're going to want to look to stay up in the league. So this is now. I wouldn't want to play Newcastle in the next how many few games. 3 on the bounce. They're looking good. All of a sudden, them getting knocked out of the FA Cup is a whole distant memory. Because why? They've got bigger fish to fry. They're looking to stay into this league, and they're going to go again. If they stay up, which genuinely we've said many times on here, we think they will. They are going to be a big problem.
Yeah, because they got the money, and they can easily now bolster their squad. I know, Craig, you were talking about Saint-Maximin and like the questions of whether he would, whether he could make that jump up to a bigger team. I think the reality is that he is their franchise player. So for him, you look at the Newcastle project, they stay up and they make some really, because the signings they made this window were very, very smart, very astute signings. They had a mixture of, for now, players like Chris Wood, Trippier, Matt Target on loan, and then you've got the for later in Grimaresh, right? There's other players they wanted to get another striker as well, but that deal fell through late. So they're clearly doing a spread of what they want to do. And you could imagine for Chris Wood, I don't think he'll leave at the end of the season, regardless of what happens. So with this project, why would he want to leave?
No, I didn't say that he wanted to leave. I said that, what I said to you guys was that he could definitely play in any top 4 team in the Premier League. I said that because I thought if he had a better coach, no disrespect to Eddie Howe, if he had a better coach like a Klopp or Tuchel, Thomas Tuchel, or maybe like who was another good manager in the Premier League in the top 4?
You got Pep
Guardiola,
Pep, Klopp, Moyes, and Tuchel.
So Pep and Klopp and Tuchel, the 3.
Yeah, the 3.
I thought under them they'll take his game to the next level. Pep will definitely get the best out of him.
I think Pep will take away from his game because Saint-Maximin as a player, he's very much an individualist in what he does.
Yeah.
Lots of 1v1 dribbling, taking lots of risks. It's like, look at Grealish. Grealish might be more functional in their system, but he's not as exciting as he was at Aston Villa. He thought he'd get more of the ball at Man City, but I don't know what game he's been watching. He's gotten less of the ball. He's not as effective because Man City's game is about the collective, not the individual. So I feel like of the list of managers that we've said, the 2 that I think will get the most out of him
is Klopp and Tuchel.
But with Tuchel, I would say the Tuchel of system. The Paris Saint-Germain, not the current Chelsea Tuchel.
No,
I think the old Tuchel, because I look at you guys as playing and I don't see the attacking play yet. I see a lot of structure. I see a lot of defensive solidity. I see a lot of building out through the phases, but I don't see the front players given that, because he used to play some explosive football. I mean, when he was at Dortmund, their football was like, it was like Klopp who? But I've not seen that yet at Chelsea.
I feel with Tuchel, I think he's trying to build a system, trying to get a structured system. Once he gets a system, and he gets the right players the way he wants to play to his system. I think
the players are there to do it.
I personally feel he hasn't got the right balance yet. He hasn't got the right balance.
We've got a lot of injuries at the moment, but so there was always
attacking talents at Chelsea. They haven't got the right balance to play.
I don't think they've got the right balance because they're not playing to the Lukaku's strengths, isn't it?
Is that what he said? But it can work though.
I'm watching Chelsea and I know that you lot can go to another level. Like you got another level. I know you won a Champions League last season. But you could go to another unstoppable level, like Man City level, where they're just invincible, where they just beat teams for fun.
So, okay, who do they need to bring in then, if that's the case?
I feel
what type of player do they need to bring in?
I feel they need to bring in a playmaker that
they have Havertz.
Yeah, we have Havertz.
I know, but you need. I think you need another.
You have the good Mason.
I think you need a centre. I think you need a centre mid like to accommodate to play alongside Kante because Kante is aging now. So you need someone that can play like a Kante.
But Kante can go for years. If Kante does. He doesn't really go that much further. You need someone like
what I mean, you need someone like another Kante, but with a bit more attacking and defending, like an attacker defender who can, and then you can play the ball through to Lukaku quick. Because lots of times Lukaku is standing and wants the ball, and they're not looking to play him the ball quick. Like a quick pass,
I think Kovacic can do that. I think Kovacic can do that. I honestly think Chelsea have the players to play more attacking football and more.
But Kovacic don't like shooting.
Yeah,
that's on the goal line and pass. But we've seen, he's got it in his back. He can. He can do it.
I personally feel players like maybe Ruben Loftus-Cheek has got that ability to do that kind of the role I'm talking about. He can defend and he can attack and he can play the ball into Lukaku. Hudson-Odoi can do that role as well. He can play the ball into Lukaku. He's trying to get it back and bang, go for goal.
He's trying to shift with Hudson-Odoi though. I think he's trying something a little bit different.
And I feel Pulisic can do that as well. Pulisic's got the ability where he can
His leg
link
work.
off the big man and bang it in.
And this is my point.
Yeah.
Look at how many players you've listed. They all play for Chelsea right now, and yet the football's not there. I think Chelsea have the pieces to play the type of football that they're capable of playing. Why they're not playing it right now, that's a managerial choice. That's what I think. I think they can do a lot more. And it's like,
I think Graham Potter could get something out of him.
Definitely.
Of Maximan.
I feel with Maximin, I think you need a manager who can just say, you know what, Mr. Maximin, just go out there and express yourself. If you have a manager tell him to express himself and just do what you need to do, don't worry about defending. We have players that will cover you.
And that's not Guardiola.
I know, Guardiola ain't going to do that, but you need someone to tell it. Like, David, you imagine David Ginola back in the day, where the managers they gave him the license. No, don't track back, just do your thing. You need someone like a manager to go, do your thing.
Do you know what? Do you know who would have been like? There's two managers I could think of that would have worked great for him.
Wenger.
One, Arsene Wenger's
Wenger.
one,
Wenger,
and
100%.
Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah, 100%.
Would have loved
That's
him.
two coaches who would just because again their football is all about individual expression. You have
yeah.
the team and you have the cohesion, but individual expression. So I feel like he needs a manager that can bring that out of him.
to get out.
But also at the same time, being at Newcastle, being that big fish in a big pond, because
he could be the man.
I think as more quality players come around them, I think we'll see more to his game.
Definitely.
The only thing I feel for him to make that jump to a top 4 team, or even let's say a top 6 team, to make that jump is end product. He needs more goals, more assists. He creates a lot of goal scoring action, and maybe with better players around him, they might turn into goals and assists. But that's the key thing for him.
I think the other day, like against Everton, he could have had 4 or 5 goals, and he could have had loads of assists as well because he set up Jacob Murphy. Did you see the game?
I didn't watch it. No.
I watched the game. Jacob Murphy played a beautiful ball to Jacob Murphy, one on the keeper. Jacob Murphy took a shot, hit the post, and came back out. It was very unlucky. He knows how to open up defenses, so he just needs the players around him. So he'll get more assists if players can finish the chances that he creates for them. That's the problem. Newcastle players, strikers, and midfielders need to be more clinical when he gives you that through ball. Because the other day it didn't cost them, but on another day it'll cost them if they don't take their chances. If Maximin's creating for you, you need to finish your chances.
And talking about players not taking their chances, CR7. What's going on with my man? He's looking every bit of the 36 years of age that he is.
I've been saying that for so long. Like, it doesn't matter. And I like the guy. I admire him really as a player, what he's achieved over time and what he probably could still achieve in his playing days. But at the end of the day, as it was my birthday the other day, recently reaching my limitations, his birthday, my birthday, aren't that far apart. You are 37. Okay, you are 37 playing in the Premier League. It's not like from what you left to what it is now. It's changed so much. Don't think you're going to be dominating half as much as you think that when you've come back. Things have moved on so much. And we did say that his arrival could be a detriment to the club in the long run. It was kind of more of a, when it was there, it was more of possibly, maybe a feel-good thing. And he gave the fans that lift. It goes, oh yeah, we're going on. Goes, really? Like, it's...
To be fair, if they hadn't signed it, they'll have a bit of a striker's crisis right now because they'd be down to 2.
They would be that. They would be. So he hasn't helped, especially in the Champions League. He's been a massive help. But yeah, he has his limits, and I think he's finding them out, and he could be getting frustrated.
The sad thing is, you could have asked the Juventus fan about that. Like, is it worth having him? Because as good as he was as a player, he affected how they played as a team.
Yeah,
and the space he occupied. Because the thing with him is he likes to drift wide, but he doesn't have the speed he used to have to go from out to in where he used to. He needs to stay more central, but he just likes to get involved in it. He'll come a bit deeper. He'll go into areas where it's now you're in the similar spaces where and he was like Juve, you're in spaces Dybala would like to occupy, and at United you're in spaces where Bruno likes to try and be a number 10. Inspired by Iniesta, my back foot. But that's what happens, right? He occupying the same spaces, and I think that's where he needs to adapt his game to kind of be more flexible. And hopefully, it will bear fruit coming into the season because they got Pogba back on the score sheet. They're going to be looking to push hard for top 4. Yeah. We're all pushing hard for top 4, and they're going to need him. We don't mind. we don't mind.
No, we don't.
Our teams don't mind if Ronaldo's having a bit of a stinker. We don't mind. But I feel like for football's sake, we kind of want to have a bit more of the Cristiano to come back. For you, Craig, what do you think he needs? Do you think he just needs a rest? Is that it?
I thought he's played a lot of football this season, to be honest with you, and he's 30,
So much.
He played 30, and he's 36 or going to 37 years old. I think
He's 37 now. He's
37. I think he needs to rest. I know he's a player that likes to play every game, but you're not 18, 17, 18 anymore. You have to rest, man.
But I guess the question is then, if they take him out, who's gonna like score the goals to make up for him not being there?
Rashford. Cavani's a good striker.
Cavani gets some now and then.
True. Cavani, he's a baller.
And they got some good young players on the reserves as well, man. Like, they got a guy called Elanga.
Yeah, he scored the other day.
Yeah, against Brentford.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he's good. And they got a young striker in the reserves. He's very good as well. They got some good striker players coming through in the academy.
Martial has been washed for years. Like let's be honest. Like the hype of Martial versus the ability is like he's the ultimate catfish in football. What a waste of time.
Wasting
about
talent.
Martial Hive and Martial season, but we never arrived. We're still waiting.
I think Man United got some good young players coming through as well. So I think they can concentrate. Concentrate like without him being around. They can rest him for the Champions League. Because if they don't do well in the Premier League, they can go for the Champions League this season. So I feel they should try and go for the Champions. Put all the eggs in one basket and go for the Champions League, because they're out of the FA Cup now. They lost in the League Cup. They're not going to win the Premier League.
Champions League's only
The Champions League is the only thing they can get them back into for next season.
Who they got again next round?
Is it PSG? No. Who Man United got in the Champions League?
I think PSG got Real Madrid.
PSG got Real Madrid.
Man United got somebody. Is it no?
We got Lille.
I think it's. I don't think it's a very difficult draw for them.
No, they got easy draw. Is it Leipzig?
And then they had I think they had Leipzig in the group, or was that last year?
Have a see. Let's have a look. Let's see.
I remember. I can't remember.
I don't think it's a massive team.
It's not a hard team anyway.
But while we wait, I think you do make a good point about what needs to be done, because again, it's like this is a big opportunity for them to make that up. And at the end of the day, like the eyes are on them, so they know they need to perform.
A lot.
They've got Atletico Madrid.
Oh, that's a hard game. It's a hard game.
That's big.
Interesting.
And the thing is as well that these players that are Man United right now are playing for their futures, because a new manager's coming in the summer, and you might want to do a clear out. So players like Ronaldo, Cavani is going to be gone in the summer. He's going.
Cavani's going. Ronaldo's not going anywhere. Where's he going?
Ronaldo did say in the interview that he would love the club to do well this season, or else he might be off.
Ronaldo can say what he likes, but he ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
Where's he going?
PSG? Never know.
PSG.
Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar.
That would be a waste. That would actually be a waste.
I mean, that's like having, I don't know.
That'd be like LA Lakers right now, all the star players, and they're all struggling. Let's not talk about them.
I don't see that being a good move.
Yeah.
Final thing we'll talk about. Let's not enough talk about Ronaldo and his will he, won't he, and his form. He'll pick up eventually. Yeah, Emmerich. Arteta's the reason why I left Arsenal. Aubameyang. Arteta responds back to his statement that the reason he left is because of the manager, with a very interesting statement to say that at the end of the day, it comes down to how players perform. And so I think he made like a very nice little counter argument to him, kind of pointing the finger at, the reason you're not at Arsenal anymore is because you weren't delivering the goods and you weren't playing well, which I think is fair.
Okay.
I don't think he should. I don't think he's at. I think that's the reason why he's gone, because at the end of the day, he ain't delivering. Like I said, he weren't scoring enough goals, and that's what it all comes down to. If you don't deliver, that's it.
Okay.
So, what do you think about this whole back and forth between the two of them? Like, what do you think about this whole situation? Because it's been interesting looking at, because we don't know the full truth. So we're all waiting to see, what the full fallout is, and hopefully the Amazon captured that on their cameras and it will be included in the final thing. If not, then whatever. But obviously you were disappointed Arsenal let him go.
Yes.
I'm not, because he's been stinking out the joint for too long. He got his contract and thought, right, I'm going to jolly up now. I'm going to stop performing. He ain't been scoring the goals, ain't been playing well. So there's no point. Like, and obviously now the big issue is that with short goals, and Nketiah and Lacazette need to step up big time to kind of make up for that deficit. But what do you think about the whole situation then with Aubameyang's departure?
I personally feel that, like, when Arteta first came to Arsenal, and we got to the FA Cup final. Aubameyang in the semi-finals, Aubameyang scored the goal. In the finals, Aubameyang won the game against Chelsea. Chelsea battered us in that final. If it wasn't for Aubameyang scoring 2 goals, we would have lost that final. Let's be real. Because Chelsea were not clinical that day. On another day, they could have scored 5 against us in that final. I remember the final very well.
We defended resolutely. I mean, there's a few I think Pulisic had a one-on-one chance before he came off injured. Which was like, I had my heart in mouth, but Martinez did an exceptional stage to stop him.
Yeah. Chelsea did battle us in that final, but Aubameyang kind of single-handedly won us the FA Cup, and he won us the League Cup against Liverpool as well. The Charity Shield. And I feel that, like, obviously he signed this new contract, and you were saying that he down tools. Okay, yeah, you might be right there. He did kind of down tools, but like a player of Aubameyang's ability, you need him in the team because he's a goal scorer.
But he ain't been scoring much this year, Craig. So what difference does it make?
Have been creating a lot of chances for him to score.
That's a fair counter argument. Okay.
We're not creating look at Lacazette, for example. Against Burnley the other day when Lacazette missed that chance. And I said to you in the interview that if Aubameyang had that chance, he would have scored. You said to me, I don't think so. Well, I feel that if Arsenal created more chances for Aubameyang to score, he will score more than he'll miss, but he'll score more than he misses, isn't it? So
he was missing some sitters this year.
I know he was. But it was a confidence thing because obviously he was going through a lot of personal stuff outside of football. His mum has been very sick. Let's be real. Every time his mum's been sick, he's gone away to go check his mum. Imagine you have somebody close to you that's not well or whatever, and they're close to you. So obviously that's been affecting him outside of football. So I think Arsenal should have done more to support. I know he came back late from his trip to Spain to visit his mum. Arsenal should have done more to support him. He's their captain. He's their leader.
The fact that they allowed him to go out to see his mum is a massive support because they didn't have to. With how the COVID cases were going up at that point in time, the fact that the games were getting called off. Remember, bearing in mind, this is around the time when games were getting called off. Our squad was short players anyway.
Yeah.
So he was allowed to travel. He was told to come back the same day. He came back the day late. Disregarding the whole... Because the thing is, it's not so much that... The big issue with him coming back late is, of course, the COVID regulations within the country, not just in football, because they changed.
Of course.
So him coming back late meant he may have jeopardized the squad and himself and may have made himself ineligible to play the next game. That's why it was a serious thing. Coming off the back of the fact the manager had COVID himself twice. So it's not like the manager's saying, oh, I'm punishing you because whatever. This is a serious thing for him. So I get what you're saying, but the club did a lot to support him. We don't know the full ins and outs of what's happened. And maybe it could have and should have been handled better because Arsene Wenger's handled really tough characters. I mean, he had Nicholas Anelka for crying out loud. We've seen his documentary.
Ian Wright.
Ian Wright wasn't a bad character. Nah. Nicholas Anelka, Tony Adams with George Graham's days. We've had tough Adebayor when we had him. He was a nightmare.
Nasri.
He's dealt
all
with
them players were nightmares.
Yeah. Nicholas Bentner, Lord Bentner, the great one.
Personalities, the great one.
Jermaine Pennant was another one.
William Gallas. I'm talking about the ones that played for Arsenal, the players that were here and left.
Thanks for taking that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's dealt with tough characters, and yet you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture and you think, could it have been handled better?
I personally feel that I think Arteta thinks he's Pep Guardiola and he's not. Let's be real. Sometimes, he feels he's a big fish in a small pond. Well, Guardiola's won Champions Leagues, won trophies. Arteta's only won the FA Cup. So I think Arteta thinks because he worked with Guardiola, he feels that he's on level par with Guardiola. That's why I think he's wrong, because I feel that you have to humble yourself a little bit, and say, you know what, I'm not on Guardiola's level yet. I want to be that level. Let me work hard and try and help the players and get to that level. Guardiola can do that to Aubameyang because Guardiola's got the experience and got the reputation to do that. You know what I mean? But with Arteta hasn't got a reputation as a big time manager to think he can. It's his first major job as a manager. He's a rookie in a way.
I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, he's trying to change the culture at Arsenal and establish standards. And sometimes that means he might over-index and get things wrong. I think Maitland-Niles is a situation where he's gotten it wrong.
Guendouzi?
No. Because I think no, because it's setting a standard of behaviour. Guendouzi was right to defend his teammate, But we don't know what happened in Dubai because there was disciplinary breach there. And then obviously off the back of that, they had a fallen out relationship. I think Maitland-Niles is the prime example because he said one thing to the player
and did another thing.
They didn't really give him a chance properly. And then when he played really well, dropped him completely out of the blue. That was just really badly handled. That one. Saliba, I feel like the communication around his role when he first went out on loan, that was not good. They should have been very clear to him, look, this season we're not going to play you as much. So, you should look for a club now. Rather than he was at this club for 3 months, played no football, then went out on loan in the January of the previous season. That's a bad situation. So I think those are two I can definitely say.
I think Amaro Panos as well is another one because he's a very good defender. He's doing well in Germany. He's doing very well.
He is, but there's probably things in his game that we don't know that they probably feel like is not quite ready at the level yet. But I'm not gonna crucify him for decisions he's made in those regards. I think for me personally, what's happening on the pitch is where the judgment will come. And ultimately, with how the season is panning out, he needs to get Arsenal back in European football. I want Champions League because I feel like it's there for us to get. I also accept that it's gonna be challenging too.
But let me ask this question then, Clive. If he doesn't get Champions League football, do you think he should go?
Depends how we don't get it.
If we lose up by a couple of points,
2 points,
2 points, something, would you say go, or will you give him another chance to get Champions League football? Or will you say, you know what, he's done his best, he can't do it, get somebody else in?
Get you to Europa and gives you the opportunity to get back into it.
You know what? I think it. That's a really good question because you're saying what I would do. I'd fire him.
Yeah, I would as well.
Because to me, the opportunity is that I'm going by how the season is now. I'm not going by how things were pre-season. Because pre-season, you'd say Arsenal probably aren't strong enough to get Champions League. Fine. Yeah. The way the season's panned out, the opportunity is there for us. We need to just be consistent. We've got these last 17 games. We're currently playing right now. We're winning 1-0 against Wolves. But in the 17-game run, we need to get as many points as possible. We play Wolves again in a couple of weeks at home. Got to get 3 points there. So hopefully this game stays this way and we win it. Now 6 points there. We keep marching on. We just got to push for it. We got to do all we can to get there.
And the thing I've been reading up this week that saying that Arsenal want to offer Saka a new contract, and it's saying that it depends on Champions League that he will stay or not. I don't know how true that is. It's only rumours.
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, Matthew, you with the players you have at Chelsea, you know how players. And it's an interesting thing with when you're signing of Chilwell, and it's an interesting thing I've seen with Jack Grealish when he made his move from Villa to City. When you meet up at international level and you have the players come together, they look across, they see Phil Foden, he's playing in Europe. You can imagine for Declan Rice at West Ham a couple of years ago before they made it so in Europe now. Yeah. But a couple of years, you look around thinking, hold on a minute, Foden's in there. He's having a bit, he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
Trent. He's young. He's playing in Europe. He's got a Champions League right now. Okay, cool. Foden reached the final. Yeah. You start to itch.
Yeah.
You start to, and for Grealish, that's why they put in his contract for Champions League club comes for me. Then and they meet the price you've set. I'm gone. So that's what you do. So I feel like it's a fair thing for his agent to say to Arsenal. Listen, you can offer us a new deal. We love Arsenal. However, we're looking around and that's the place you want to get to. And if you're not able to offer it, they might even turn around and say, you know what, Arsenal might say, okay, here's an offer for you, another 5 or 3 year contract or 4 year contract. We'll bump you up to 100K a week. Bonuses getting you up to 150, 160. His agent might say, you know what, let's talk in the summer. Summer comes, we finish 5th, couple points off. They might say, okay, you know what, Bukayo, let's do this. Let's not sign it yet. We'll tell Arsenal, look, we love the offer, love the club, but he has ambition to go in Champions League. So we're gonna see. Let's come back to the table in January. January comes around, Arsenal sitting in 3rd. Cool, let's sign the deal. January comes around, Arsenal sitting in 8th. You know what? We're talking the summer. Now you're starting to see, okay, because even when he signed his extension, it was a long time.
Because
they were talking for months.
Because he wanted assurances that the club were going to win trophies, they're going to get top 4 and compete again. So
competitive.
In Saka's shoes as a player, he wants to win trophies. He wants to get Champions League football. He
wants to challenge.
He's played in the Euros for England, played in the European final.
Yep.
Obviously, he wants to taste of playing against players like Chiellini.
Yeah, he probably wants revenge for what happened in the Euros.
Revenge after what happened in the Euros. So he's not going to do that playing at Arsenal at the moment, getting Champions League football. I feel if he can stay patient, I don't know how patient. He's young, isn't it? How old is he now? 19, 20?
He's 20.
20.
He's like 19, 20.
So he's
got time on his hands.
He's got time on his hands, yeah, but
he has the ambition. He wants
the ambition.
Stuff.
He wants to win stuff. He wants to get to play Champions League football. So that's what I'm saying. Arteta needs to deliver Champions League football this season, or else we're going to lose our best players. If Saka goes, Smith Rowe's going to want to go.
Yep.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but
not necessarily,
he's going to think that his best friend is gone. Then who else? You got Odegaard. Odegaard's another one. You got Martinelli as well. If they see their best mate going, they're going to think, oh, Arsenal not ambitious. We're selling our best players again. It's a vicious cycle. So
I think it depends how it all goes. You're right. We need to get European football, but it depends how it all comes together. I guess for you, Matthew, on that point, like, because at Chelsea, you guys are very good at moving things on when, like, management needs to be. And even players, you're good at kind of moving players on and shuffling things around. Looking at it now, like Craig said, it's important for us to get European football at the end of the season. Do you think that if we don't get there, that the job, he should be let go? Absolutely. Irrespective of how many points it is. So say Champions League, we miss out by 4 points.
It could be 1 point. It could be goal difference. He's got to go. Like, the proof is in the, like, I get that you want to back this guy because, you know, he's young, he's fresh. You want to give him a chance, and he has proven his worth in the past with that 2020 FA Cup final. The trouble is, I just think he's still using that as some sort of bargaining chip. Like, when you won that FA Cup and then you won the Community Shield within the space of a month, things were looking on the up for us and goes, oh yeah, we can compete, we can win. And that back then, the FA Cup, I mean, even still now, could get you back into the Europa League, and that could lead and into the Champions League.
And it did that season.
Yeah,
and we should have done better in Europe that season.
And
but,
you should have
bad
got
decision making.
You should have got to the final. That's the issue, is that this would be okay if it was leading to something. So if you got to that final and you won that final, which I think you would have anyway, that would have been great. It's these FA Cup wins seem to me a bit like sticking a plaster on a nuclear missile, a leaking nuclear missile. It's covering up big, massive cracks that do eventually come apart eventually. And look, because since you've won the FA Cup, you finished 8th again, no European football. Irregardless of, you know, yeah, he wasn't performing, you know, this season, not scoring many goals. You've lost a talisman, you've lost your captain, you lost your captain beforehand. And now you're short, and now you've got a very thin squad. It's almost as if you're making it more. It can't be all doom and gloom at Arsenal all the time. Yes, they're winning now, when, you know, the top 4 is there for the taking still. That 4th is literally begging to be caught. Absolutely begging. I get that they have this plan. I get that they have this process. A lot of fans who sing Arteta's praises, like, he's got a plan, they've got a process. Edu as well. Like, you know, let's go along this plan. Plans can change. Why not just be that little bit more proactive when you see a situation coming up where you see teams like Spurs falling off, United falling off, West Ham might lose a game here or there. You know, it can happen. Why not just be that, just be that little bit more, okay, right, here we go. Change the plan just for this little bit. Let's loan in a striker. I'm not saying they would do it. It might not be a good idea. Loan in a striker for half a season just to get those goals. And if and after that, adios, gone. But you would have got there. Or what I would have done in the whole situation with Aubameyang was, right, you and me, we're not getting on. That is very clear to see. But, you know, here's the deal. Because I think if he went in this summer, he would have went for some money, right? He would have went for a fee if he went in the summer.
Yeah.
I think irrespective of when he went, he should have gone for a fee. He's under contract. The only reason why they did it that way is because he had no future.
Yeah, he had no future. Where it's like, you know, if, you know, I don't know, I would personally have a thing where if I'm not going to get another striker, I mean, I'm done with the guy. But, you know, get us back. You've got 5 months and then you're out of here. That last kind of, you know, agree to disagree sort of thing to kind of end of a season. Like, I know you got this plan, but it can, have I recently learned, it can change. And it sometimes you need to just grasp that moment, just that one time when this is the best opportunity for top 4 you've had in what, 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
So why are you so hamstrung on this one thing? To, you know, for something that can be got at. I mean, if West Ham can get it, you can get it. And, you know, you got other teams around you going for it. And even though, like, you know, your players, you know, you think like you say, your players, like your Sakas, potentially Smith Rowes along the way, like, they're young now and they love the club and they're voted to Arsenal. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. But, you know, patience is a virtue. Patience is a massive, massive virtue. You know, like you said yourself, the likes of Grealish, And especially Grealish, where he was the man at the club, it didn't matter. He had that itch. He saw Maguire, he saw Chilwell, he saw Mount, he saw Foden, all these other English players been playing in the against the best. Like you're in the same kind of breadth of like your Haalands, your Benzemas, your Mbappes, and being like, isn't there something in my contract saying that I could have exactly that? I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think it will. But you don't want to go through that. These are your talisman. Your absolute talisman.
And to lose them would be quite bad. And it would set the club back a lot because then we'd have to spend a lot to replace them.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be cheap to replace Saka if we lost. And then we'd have to then strengthen as well. And we've got a lot of business to do in the summer. We've got to buy 2 strikers minimum. We've got to buy potentially Xhaka's replacement. Please God.
I'm hearing that Tillemans might be available.
I don't want him. He can't run, man. He runs.
Better than Xhaka though.
Bruv, he runs like
better than maybe Basuma. I'll go for Basuma.
Well, Basuma is a bit of a nuclear bomb. No one's going to touch him right now because of the whole
the case.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
But Tillemans good on the ball, but he's not good defensively and he doesn't run very well. So we need more athletes in our team. But yeah, we'll leave it there.
Okay,
another good one. It's a bit of fun. We'll see how it goes. That's us wrapping up. Thanks for listening to the episode. If you're listening on iTunes and Spotify, please rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. That is us for the weekend. We'll be back for another one very, very soon. Peace out.
Peace.
Safe.